In 2013, a 31-year-old who'd never run a real company financed The Wolf of Wall Street, a movie about a con man who stole from regular people to live like a king. The irony? He paid for it with money stolen from regular people to live like a king. His name is Jho Low. He emptied a country's treasury, vanished off the face of the earth, and as far as anyone can actually prove, he's still out there, somewhere. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how someone disappears with $4.5 billion and nobody can find him. July 4th, 1981, Penang, Malaysia. Low-tide Jho Low to basically everyone, was born into a comfortably wealthy family, not a poor one. This isn't a rags to riches story. It's a rich to absurdly richer story. He went to a British boarding school, then Wharton, the same business school that produced half of Wall Street's worst ideas. While other students were doing internships, Jho Low was doing something else entirely, making friends. Rich friends, connected friends. The kind of friends whose fathers ran countries. One classmate in particular would matter more than any of the others, the son of a Middle Eastern sovereign wealth fund chairman. Remember that name. It's going to come back. February 2009. Najib Razak becomes Prime Minister of Malaysia. Within months, he creates a new government fund called 1MDB, One Malaysia Development Berhad. The pitch: borrow money, invest it in real projects, turn Malaysia into a regional economic powerhouse. The reality: 1MDB was a piggy bank with the country's signature on it, and Jho Low had the key. He wasn't an employee. He wasn't even on the board. He just showed up to every important meeting anyway. Nobody stopped him. Nobody asked why. That's the first warning sign in this entire story, and it is nowhere near the last. Here's how it actually worked. 3 steps. First, 1MDB borrowed billions of dollars by issuing bonds, basically an IOU sold to investors, paid back with interest. Second, instead of that money going into Malaysian infrastructure, it got routed through a maze of shell companies, fake businesses that exist only on paper, like a P.O. box pretending to be a factory. Third, one shell company in particular, with the suspiciously generic name Goodstar Limited, received over $1 billion of it in a single transfer. One transfer. Over $1 billion. Guess who controlled Goodstar Limited? Go on. Guess. And keep that maze in mind, because we're about to watch him build an almost identical one, using a name that wasn't even his to use. Picture the pitch. A banker, sweating slightly, sits across from Low. This account wants proof of where this billion came from. Tell them it's from a joint venture with a Gulf oil company. Is it? Does it need to be? The banker said yes. He shouldn't have. Remember that oil fund classmate from Wharton? His father's real company was Abar Investments, owned by Abu Dhabi, genuinely one of the largest sovereign wealth funds on earth. Except the version 1MDB partnered with wasn't Abar. It was a shell company with an almost identical name. Abar Investments PJS Limited, created specifically to look like the real thing on paper. It's the financial equivalent of opening a restaurant called McDonald's with a lowercase d and hoping nobody checks the sign too closely. Through this fake A-bar, another $1.4 billion vanished. And here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. Real bankers, real auditors, real regulators at some of the most respected financial institutions in the world looked at this name and didn't catch it. Not for years. So where did billions of dollars meant for Malaysian infrastructure actually go? A $35 million Picasso. A $130,000 necklace for a Victoria's Secret model. A custom-built super yacht named, with genuinely impressive nerve, the Equanimity, which is Latinish for calm under pressure. Parties with Paris Hilton and Leonardo DiCaprio. Tens of millions funneled into financing the Wolf of Wall Street, a film whose entire plot is a man defrauds people to fund a lifestyle he can't actually afford. Low didn't miss the irony. He just didn't care. While ordinary Malaysians were being told the country couldn't afford certain public projects, the man behind the fund footing that Bill was personally footing Leonardo DiCaprio's bar tab. Keep that contrast in your head. It's going to matter again very soon. By 2015, investigators on 3 continents were finally starting to ask the same question. Where is the money? And more importantly, where is Jho Low? Back to the money, or rather, what was left of it. The U.S. Department of Justice opened what they called, at the time, the largest single case in their kleptocracy initiative's history, aiming to recover over $1.7 billion in assets linked to 1MDB. Goldman Sachs, the bank that helped raise the bonds in the first place, eventually pled guilty and agreed to pay over $2.9 billion in penalties for its role. One of the largest penalties in the bank's history. Indonesia, Switzerland, and Singapore all opened their own investigations. The net was closing. Everyone in this story had a decision to make. Some of them ran. One of them didn't. That one person who didn't run was Najib Razak, the Prime Minister who signed 1MDB into existence in the first place. In 2018, Malaysian voters threw his party out of power for the first time in over 6 decades, largely because of this scandal. Investigators searched his properties and found over $270 million in cash, jewelry, and luxury goods, so much that it took days just to catalog it. In 2020, Najib was convicted on 7 counts of corruption, breach of trust, and money laundering, and sentenced to 12 years in prison. For a moment, it looked like this story had an ending where the powerful actually faced consequences. Then, in 2024, Malaysia's king granted Najib a royal pardon, cutting his sentence in half, down to 6 years, and slashing his fine by 3/4. The pardon board's own paperwork became its own small scandal, with conflicting accounts over whether he was ever promised house arrest. So here's where we actually land. The Prime Minister went to prison. The Prime Minister also didn't serve anywhere near the sentence he was given. Even the part of this story with a conviction in it doesn't fully add up to justice. And Jho Low? To be fair, we don't know with certainty where he is today, and anyone who tells you they do is guessing. International arrest warrants exist. Interpol has a red notice out on him. But here's what's been reported, carefully, by multiple investigative outlets over the years. Never officially confirmed, but consistent enough to take seriously. Leaked documents and reporting from journalists tracking offshore financial records have repeatedly pointed toward mainland China, and specifically toward the gambling hub of Macau, as places where Low has operated or sought protection at various points after fleeing. The theory is straightforward, even if the proof isn't. A businessman this connected, this useful to powerful people, doesn't need to hide in a cave. He needs to be useful to someone bigger than the people chasing him. Authorities in multiple countries have frozen and seized hundreds of millions in assets linked to him. Yachts, real estate, even rights to films, including, yes, that one. But the man himself has never been arrested. Not once, not anywhere. Every few years, a new leak or a new report claims to know exactly where he is, and every few years, that lead goes quiet again. That's not a coincidence. That's what it looks like when someone has built exactly the kind of protection money, like this is designed to buy. Here's the part that should actually bother you. It's not that one man stole billions. People have stolen billions before. It's that he did it loudly. Yachts, movie financing, parties with movie stars. And the system built to catch this kind of thing took years to even start asking questions. The one head of state convicted in this entire saga had his sentence cut in half by the same system that convicted him. And the man widely considered the architect of the whole scheme has spent close to a decade as a ghost, with a $4.5 billion paper trail leading nowhere anyone official is willing to confirm. None of this required genius. It required a maze, a few almost identical company names, and just enough powerful friends to make sure nobody looked too closely until it was already too late. As one investigator close to the case reportedly put it, the scandal wasn't that the system failed. The scandal is that it worked exactly as designed, just not for the people it was supposed to.